In 2017, North Korea went on a missile launch bonanza, first into the Sea of Japan in February, then its first ever intercontinental ballistic missile on July 4th. Happy birthday, America! And 18 other missile tests, plus a cyber attack on 150 countries, disrupting everything from banks to hospitals. No 5-9, but pretty effective. According to North Korean media, Americans on internet websites now have nuclear phobia. Kim Jong-un's threats of war weren't new, but this time they were echoed by the US. On Twitter, by the way, which seems like a bad way to reach someone in North Korea. But hey, tensions were at an arguably all-time high. And then something changed. Out of nowhere, after the deadline, Kim Jong-un announced he would send 2 athletes to the 2018 Olympics. And not just that, but with South Korea, under a unified flag. His sister and an entourage of suspiciously enthusiastic fans also traveled to the south. Missile testing suddenly stopped, and Kim even met with a US Secretary of State. He also left the country for the first time as supreme leader, to visit Xi Jinping in China. And then the biggest news yet. Both North and South held an inter-Korean summit, where Kim hugged the South Korean president, even stepped on South Korean soil. I mean, that sounds like a story from The Onion. It's a complete 180, from non-stop missile launches to friendly smiles and hugs in just 5 months. For many, this is completely bizarre. For others, it's the obvious result of successful foreign policy. But what looks like desperation, or backpedaling, or even foolishness is really just the continuation of a long-standing, very rational, very calculated survival strategy, with a twist. So what exactly is going on, and how will it end? Kim Jong-un has one thing on his wish list: stay in power. For him, power means wealth and luxury and safety for his family. So if that's the goal, you might wonder, why not just, chill out and enjoy those things? He appears to do the opposite, risking everything by poking the biggest guns he can find. That's why so many see him as genuinely crazy. And the media, of course, has no interest in alleviating that worry. Worry is their business model. But it's not true. Kim inherited a very poor, hungry, primitive country. If he does nothing, the country will wither and fail. No one to make Swiss cheese or basketballs. And becoming a self-sustaining, or just not terrible, country would mean economic reform. Reform brings better living conditions for everyone, which you might expect would protect Kim from revolution. But it's just the opposite. A population that can just barely feed itself only has time to do exactly that. Revolutions are feats of strength, not weakness. What's really dangerous is a taste of the good life, a peek at what they could have. Reform could eventually make the North as successful as its neighbor, but it would mean goodbye for Kim. So he needs resources but can't afford economic reform. The solution is the same kind of socialism the country has always dreamed of and never delivered: shared resources, aka foreign aid. And how do you get handouts as a totalitarian country with death camps?
Fear.
But intimidating a superpower like the United States is hard. If they had $600 billion to rival the US military, they wouldn't need to scare them anyway. So instead, they skip the entire tech tree, straight to nuclear weapons. A single nuke is the ultimate shield against war and uproar, which also makes it the perfect negotiating tool. The thought of denuclearizing North Korea is so attractive, the world will do anything for the slightest chance to get it, including forgetting 15 years of failed foreign policy. Just 2 years after Kim Jong-un took power, a former exchange student in Pyongyang and now expert, Andrei Lankov, wrote a book called The Real North Korea. See if what he wrote sounds familiar. When North Korea are unhappy, they follow the same routine. They first manufacture a crisis and drive tensions as high as possible. When newspaper headlines tell the world that the Korean peninsula is on the brink of war, the North Korean government suggests negotiations. The offer is accepted with a sigh of relief, giving North Korean diplomats the leverage to squeeze maximum concessions. It's the North Korean version of the hero's journey, the same story told over and over and over again. But because we want to believe, we buy it every time. At any given moment, Kim is either in total assault mode, creating fear and therefore our desperation for negotiation, or total charm mode, convincing the world he's a new man. He just needs some financial support, man. This cycle of aggression, charm, and repeat is happening now, but it's not new at all. There have been 6 other rounds of negotiations. North Korea agreed to abandon their nuclear program in 2005. They got what they wanted and then broke their promise. But this time is a bit different. Their nuclear program program has been building up for almost 40 years to one goal: the ability to reach the US mainland. Until then, there was no realistic chance of their giving up the program. It's their one and only deterrent, the only key to Kim's life. Lesson learned from Iraq and Libya. On November 28th, they tested the Hwasong-15, proving they could reach anywhere in America. And 2 months later, they joined the Olympics and turned on the charm. That timing is no coincidence. They accomplished their goal. No need for more missile testing. Now it's time to cash in, get all they can from halting the tests while keeping, even if it means hiding, the ability to target the US. They couldn't have scheduled it better. Xi Jinping was probably pressuring them to relax, and tensions were extremely high with the US. The administration really wants to show its strategy worked, giving Kim enormous negotiating leverage. It's possible the talks will fail, or succeed with flying colors, but here's my rough prediction. Kim will excite the world with concessions, but most will be completely symbolic, cheap smiles and no concrete promises. He'll agree to stop nuclear development, which they no longer need, in exchange for some American military concessions that also benefit China, who would prefer America back out of Asia. Little to nothing will change inside North Korea, more of the same terrible oppression, and real reunification won't be possible anytime soon. But American and South Korean politicians will declare a huge success, but so will North Korea, who finally got a seat at the table, has its security guaranteed, plus maybe some economic benefits, exactly as planned. When he next finds himself low on cash or in need of something without the attention to get it, well, he'll know exactly what works. And by the time North Korea makes its next move, you could be well on your way to making yours. Everything you saw in this video, I made in a graphic design application called Affinity Designer. It's far cheaper than Adobe Illustrator, but still a bit intimidating for beginners. So a great way to learn it is with a class like this one on Skillshare. It'll walk you through making digital graphics in easy to follow, bite-sized videos. Everything from colors to custom shapes, brushes, and exporting. If you want to make videos like this one, this is a great way to get started. And with a premium membership, you pay one low price for all the classes you want, so you can find the perfect one for you, jump around, or take multiple at a time. There are classes on photography, finance, app development, and something I'm gonna check out, calligraphy. Something that's really cool is that you can browse other people's projects for inspiration. I mean, look at all the cool lettering people have made who took this calligraphy class. And for Polymatter viewers, the first 500 people to sign up with a link in the description get 2 free months of unlimited classes. Thanks again to Skillshare, and to everyone who gives it a try.